But like, who's somebody that's new, that's up and coming, that people might be surprised that you're kind of rocking with?
I mean, you know, but if you want to talk about rapping, you know, it's obviously
some rapping shit.
West Side Gun and Conway, man, those guys are heavy.
100%.
Those guys are heavy duty.
Heavy with the bars.
Those guys are heavy duty rappers, man. And they have a homie in their squad named Mach-Hommy.
That's lit.
I mean, if you're on some shit where you just appreciate
bars,
but not just bars. This is like, it's another level of like bars. It's like, it's genius shit. It's really not, it's advanced level shit.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be ranking every project from one of the greatest artists of our generation, Mach-Hommy. Mach has a whole lot of projects, so this is definitely going to be my longest video I've ever done. So thank you all for checking it out. If you're a fan of hip hop and want to like this video and subscribe to the channel, that is appreciated more than you know. I recently hit 3,000 subscribers and I'm incredibly grateful for everyone who's been rocking with me this whole time. I have a lot of dope videos planned for this summer, so I'm really excited for that. For this video, I'm going to be ranking every single Mach-Hommy project, with the exception of the Super Tape EPs and everything that he had executive produced for other artists. This is just my opinion, so I guarantee that you'll have different rankings than me, so drop your list down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's get right into it. In last place, we have Saturday Night Lights Volume 1 and 2. Now, just because this is in last place doesn't mean that it's a bad album. I actually enjoy this project quite a bit. I even have it on vinyl. I just feel like this project has the worst hit-to-miss ratio of any Mach project, batting about 500 with these songs here. I think FOH, Felicitations, and Church are all awesome songs. The epic sound to the soul-sampled beats are perfect for Mach and Fahim to work on, but the other 4 tracks here are just not that great. At just 7 songs, there's really no room for this project to have over half of its songs being skips, so that's why it falls this low. At number 25, we have Dump God, Triz Nathan. This is one of Mach's most recent projects, and the second in his Triz Nathaniel trilogy. It's a pretty cool project, but at only 4 tracks, there's really not much to keep me coming back. I love Sadu Gold, and these beats are cool, but overall they just feel kind of unremarkable to me. After Image is a dope track, and it's awesome hearing Fahim and Droog relink with Mach as New Religion for the first time in a while. And Bazooka Zoe is one of my favorite tracks in the whole trilogy, so this project may go up in my ranking over time, but for now there's really not much to warrant it being any higher here. At number 24, this may be a hot take, but I have Mach's Hard Lemonade. Don't get me wrong, I love everything around this project. I was all in on the hype when this came out, and I love all of the album covers, but the music itself was a little bit disappointing. This album does have a cool vibe to it. Mach was really spitting on the opener Sweeney Bin Told Me. Earl Sweatshirt, The God Fahim, and Your Old Droog all have dope verses here, but none of these songs match up to their best collaborations with Mach over the years. Squeaky Hinge is definitely the standout, but it comes after the Cloud Dracula remix, which is one of the most disappointing posse cuts in recent memory for me. Overall, there's definitely some cool stuff on this project, and I may have been able to forgive its flaws if the album was a little longer, but at 22 minutes, there is way too much of this album that I wish could have been better. At number 23, we have Triz Nathaniel, the first project in the trilogy. This project is a lot more solid all the way through than the last. All 4 tracks are great. Conductor Williams does an incredible job with the production here. I counted, and he somehow fits 37 Conductor and Conductor We Have a Problem drops onto these 4 songs, which is a little grating at times, but it's also pretty badass. Just like with Triz Nathan, the best track here is the last one, with Leisure Earned. I love how they flip Lil Kim's classic Crush on You. Fahim rips up his verse, and Mach absolutely delivers. Just like with the other Triz project, the only thing holding this down is just that it's only 4 tracks. At number 22, we have a collaboration with the legendary DJ Muggs, Kill 'Em All. This is a cool project, but it doesn't do anything better than the duo's other collaboration, Twos La Twos. There's no weak points here. I love the song with Droog, Apollon's Wheel, but the best track here is easily Force Majeure. The piano sample is so simple but effective, and Mach raps 2 of my favorite verses of his career here, and gives us a dope hook as well. Overall, it's definitely a cool project, but it's the one that I return to the least. It feels like an afterthought, in a discography that at most points feels like every other outing is essential to Mach's story. At number 21, we have the last project in the Triz Nathaniel series, the third and final one, Triz Nate. Produced by Nicholas Craven, this EP is only 4 tracks, but it's fire all the way through. All 4 tracks feature g.a.t, a frequent collaborator of Mach, who brings a super unique energy to every track with his sort of raspy singing voice. With Juju on every track and Craven making every beat, this project has a real cohesiveness that comes through more than the others. Every track here gets better and better, leading up to this heavenly beat on Sam's Maculage, and then the beautiful trigonometry, with Mach getting poetic with his verses on top of an elegant flute-sampled beat, leading into Juju giving one of his best hooks of the year. Again, the only thing holding this one back is its length, but if all 3 Triz EPs were combined onto one album, I guarantee you that they would be in the top 10 of this list. Bringing us into the top 20, we have Mach's second collaboration with DJ Muggs, Two's La Two's. This album does everything better than the original. The rapping sounds hungrier and more focused, the beats are darker and more spacious, and the vibe of this thing sounds like it's straight out of an underground rap horror movie. 2 Second Style sets the stage at the start of the album, and it goes through 30 minutes of dopeness. 900K has this grumbling beat, with Mach ripping this aggressive flow, attacking the listener, and the closer features New Religion, rapping over this dope breakbeat and a disorienting sample of a lady saying "kill 'em all." Overall, this album has a super cool and unique sound. This is one that I always had lower, but it's recently clicked for me, so I can see this one climbing the ranks of the list over the next few months. At number 19, we have Duck Season, Chinese Algebra. This is a very interesting project to me, because I always kind of forget that it exists, but every time I go back and listen to it, I'm struck by how consistently great it is all the way through. The production here is classy sounding, like something out of the Victorian era. There's really not much that I have to say about this project. There are no weak tracks. Both Mach and Fahim give solid verses all the way through, and Mach even sings some very underrated hooks. Like I said, there are no weak tracks here, but also there's none that really stand out from the pack. But if I had to choose the songs that best represented what this album brings, then it would be Cardio and Blackmore Brooch. A part of the reason why this album is so low is actually because my favorite track on this project is actually the Fahim solo joint Quintuple Black, so there are definitely better examples of Mach's expertise than this, even if he does give great performances throughout. At number 18, we have the first entry from the Dollar Menu trilogy, Dollar Menu 2. Now all 3 of the Dollar Menu albums are dope, but this one has the lowest highs to me. I know Mach doesn't rap until track 3, but Fahim holds it down, giving us some of the best rapping of his career on Acid Reflux. When Mach does come in on Continental Breakfast, he rips it, giving us an incredible rhyme pattern that would make those rhymes highlighted videos short circuit. This project has some incredible production, mostly from Sadu Gold, but also from Unlucky Bastards and Camouflage Monk, with Monk producing the last track Brand Finale, which gives Mach and Fahim a chance to rap over this awesome vibey beat, straight out of a nighttime stakeout from a neo-noir film. With 18 projects left after this, we're already at the point where there's almost no flaws in these albums, which just goes to show you just how amazing his discography is. At number 17, we get La Hurts, which is a rare loose concept album from Mach. This project feels like the heartbreak on the album's cover and title. Lyrically, Mach is doing his thing, but on this project it's really how his voice and presence on the mic creates the vibe on each track. 7 of these 8 tracks were produced by August Fannin, one of the greatest producers of the modern era, and possibly Mach's best producing partner, mastering hip-hop with a jazz-infused sound. This might be the most underrated Mach project, and it exemplifies his incredible ability to create this unique ambiance within the music. On track 4, he gives us this incredible verse, based around the words "The Feeling," using this flow reminiscent of a Miles Davis refrain straight out of Kind of Blue. If you're a fan of the g.a.t, then this is the number 1 Mach project that you need to check out next, because this is his only other project that really captures that jazzy mysticism quite like it. At number 16, we have Dumpmeister. This is one of those projects that's really good, and I can see why some people have it in their top 5, but it just doesn't speak to me personally for some reason. On the opening Basquiat, Mach drops one of his better opening verses, and Juju and Melanin 9 give great contributions too. Bacalao and Provisio, which features Crime Apple, has a Sadu Gold beat that sounds like it samples an old Universal Monsters movie from the 40s, which is a super cool touch. Along with Sadu, there's beats from The Alchemist, Evidence, Knowledge, Camouflage Monk, Navy Blue, and more, so the beats are among the top in the game. I'm really not sure why this album doesn't hit me like it should. I like every song individually a lot, but when I listen all the way through, it staggers a bit. Either way, this is definitely a Mach essential that you should check out. At number 15, we have Dump Olympics, Wide Berth. Not to be confused with Fahim's solo project, Wide Berth, which was executive produced by Mach. This one may feel like more of a Fahim solo project from the outside looking in, but I assure you, every contribution that Mach makes here is top tier. This is definitely the most underappreciated Mach project in my opinion. The vibe of the whole thing is perfect. On the second track, Formage, the duo teams back up with g.a.t, and Mach gives one of his most underrated verses, switching from Haitian Creole to English with ease. I know that Fahim is alone on the cover, but this one feels like more of a true collaboration from the Dump duo, with them trading verses back and forth on track 3, and the production feeling perfectly up the alley of both MCs. I know that a lot of people have this album much lower on their lists, but songs like Wingardium Leviosa, Smarten Up, and Chimay Blue are some of my favorite ever from this duo. Up next we have Dollar Menu 3. This is the longest addition to the Dollar Menu series, and it does not disappoint. The whole trilogy is simply Mach-Hommy and the god Fahim at their best. This one has the duo just showing off with non-stop bars over cool-ass samples. Being the longest, this one definitely stands on its own as the best full-length album in the trilogy, but it doesn't quite have the creative highs that the other two have. With that being said, this is still a great project. This feels like it's the most sample-heavy project from the duo, so that gives it a cool sort of throwback sound, channeling the spirit of Primo and Large Professor with some of the production here. Released in the heart of 2017, this album features Mach-Hommy at his lyrical best, and his delivery is super focused on here too. On some of his solo projects, Mach can get a little lost in his own abstract creativity, but I feel like Fahim grounds him and brings him back down to earth, unleashing him and letting him just bar out, and this is some of the best of that dynamic. At number 13, we have the original Dollar Menu. I always get surprised when I see people rank this below the other Dollar Menu projects. This not only has the highest highs, but at 7 tracks, this is the most consistent of the 3. The duo is rapping with the hunger on here that's awesome. On the opener Barnum and Bailey, you can almost hear Mach's voice crack because he's rapping so hard. The mic Mach uses here adds a texture to the songs too. Smoke Signals is incredible, with the old school Native American style beat, but then Mach's vocals so rough on top of it, making it a one-of-a-kind sound. Rolf Bieler has Mach's coolest hook delivery of the trilogy, and the closing track Nardwar is probably my favorite collaboration between Mach and Fahim, with Fa rapping better than he has in his whole career, giving us 5 different flows in one verse. And that leads into a Mach verse that has such a raw energy that his vocals from each line bleeds into the next, giving the listener no chance to take a breath. Overall, the only thing holding this back is that it's only 7 songs. At number 12, we have The Spook, which was produced by Knowledge. At just 8 tracks, this project is easy to overlook within Mach's discography, but Knowledge might be the best producer that he's worked with for a whole project. The duo has had some disagreements since the release of this project, but their chemistry here is unmatched. Knowledge is able to lay beats that are just as mysterious sounding as Mach is. His production, which is heavily laced with vocal samples, blends perfectly with Mach's one-of-a-kind vocal performances and recording style. Yeezy Taught Her has one of the coolest Mach hooks ever, over this haunting heavenly vocal sample. Doot 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 is a chilling track that has such a dope and unique sound. As we get deeper into this list, you'll see that I love projects where Mach does more singing, and this is definitely one of them. On Bone Apres MIDI, he sings beautifully for almost 2 minutes, and then on Shapeshifter, his crooning sounds like something out of the movie Warriors, while he calls out all the fake ops out there. At number 11, we are finally at the albums that I think are truly amazing, and here we have his first project ever, Goon Grizzle. This is definitely the most unique sounding project of his career. This was released all the way back in 2004, and the album has a totally different sonic style than his later work. Everything from the beats, to his delivery, to the lyrics and flows that he uses are all unique, both to the rest of hip-hop, and even to his future self. On I'm Hood, he drops an anthem that would have felt more at home with G-Unit than Griselda. I love the sound that he has in this project. His presentation is a little more straightforward, but it's anything but typical. There's an energy on this project that I've never heard any other rapper quite match. He definitely is far from his prime artistically, but this is an amazing start to something great. On Monster, he raps over a beat that's remixed from an old cell phone ring, which is something that he would never try anything like later in his career. which is a shame if you ask me. This whole project really shows off his versatility, something that he's shown glimpses of throughout his career, but rarely unleashes the full effect of. Bringing us into the top 10 comes another Mach and Fahim collab that's super underrated, Notorious Dump Legends. Now this is another one that may feel slightly more like a Fahim project than a true 50-50 split, but every time Mach shows up here, it's straight golden. This might be the closest that we ever get to a full Mach-Hommy singing album, with him singing the hook on 8 of these 12 songs, and every song refrain is absolutely beautiful. There's nothing but amazing things I could say about this project. As Mach and Fahim's best and longest project together, this one feels the most cohesive, and also the most unique. By letting Mach show off his singing chops, he really lets Fahim be the main focus lyrically, and the duo feels like a real group here, each bringing their own points of expertise to every song. And just because he's singing more, doesn't mean that Mach isn't rapping at the highest level either. This man is absolutely spitting. The production on this project is very focused and classical sounding, feeling right out of a classic movie like Seven Samurai or something. And Mach is perfectly able to capture the epicness of these songs while keeping it grounded in a pristine realness. At number 9 we have the most recent full-length Mach-Hommy project, Balin's Cho, Hot Candles. This album is amazing. With Mach coming off Pray for Haiti and going straight into this, it really feels like he's entered a second prime of his career. This is the type of shorter 20-ish minute long project that Mach has made over the years that often ends up feeling a little underwhelming, but on Balin's Cho, he's completely mastered it. Giving us an incredible sequence of music, this album is simultaneously small while feeling grand with these vivacious and big colorful beats, and Mach spitting with the confidence and authority of an MC at the top of the world. With the number of skits in the tracklist and only 8 of the 13 tracks being real songs, it would be easy for this album to feel disjointed or without momentum, but the skits are almost needed because the real songs are so big and bombastic. The horns on La Bow, leading into Mach belting I Got It at the Mud, Swear to God, makes for one of the best songs of the year. Separation of the Sheep and Goats has Mach claiming his rightful place as one of the goats in the game, and the closing track S.O.L.E sees Mach getting more personal than usual, making this a project that truly has a little bit of everything. This is ranked so low at the risk of recency bias, but quality-wise this could easily be in the top 5 given some more time. At number 8, we have Bulletproof La. I'm not really sure what the consensus opinion of this album is, but I love it. It's sort of a spiritual successor to La Hurts, with it having this mysterious and jazzy sound, and with every song revolving around women or Mach's love life. Mach is so focused here, not only lyrically keeping with the theme, but stylistically. He's able to take these moody jazz beats like Grease and Honey Roasted, and add such life into them, feeling like another instrument within the jazz quartet. Every track except the opener is produced by August Fannin, and I'm telling you, every time Mach and August link up, it's near perfection. And it's not all this brooding, slow jazz either. Open Sesame and Fubar have a sort of 60s British invasion inspiration to me with the instrumentation, and Mach works his magic over these beats effortlessly too. Yvonne has one of my favorite beats that Mach has ever rapped over. It has this incredibly beautiful soul sample, with Mach flowing relentlessly, with his voice mixed almost under the sample, making his flow feel like a part of the production. This is the other Mach record that I own on vinyl, so this definitely has a special place in my heart too. At number 7, we have one of the most unique projects in Mach's discography, FYI. This is the earliest Mach project besides Goon Grizzle, and it's before he really mastered that Mach style that he would perfect later on, so this album has a really unique style to it. I like to think of this project being called For Your Information because this is the point where Mach is informing the world just how talented he is, channeling sounds from different eras, regions, and genres here. It starts with Midrash, with Mach spitting double time over a 60s rock and soul organ. Egypt is a top 5 track for me, with the coolest beat here, sounding straight out of a 70s blaxploitation flick. And Mach torches his verse, riding over the track in a way that only Mach could. Russian Dolls is a rare song where Mach sings for the entire runtime. The main thing that this project has that sets it apart is some trap-inspired production. Songs like Laser Guided show just how versatile Mach is. He's able to effortlessly switch up his style to bring something new and inventive to different styles of beats. Overall, this is one of the Mach-Hommy projects that sounds least like a Mach-Hommy project, but it still exemplifies his incredible talent, with great lyrics, dope song hooks, experimental flows, and an ear for creating music that sounds incredibly unique and simply just sounds awesome. At number 6, we have Fete des Morts, an EP entirely produced by Earl Sweatshirt, with the exception of Embarrassment of Riches, which was produced by Navy Blue. Now this is one of the shorter Mach-Hommy projects, but it's non-stop incredible hip-hop from start to finish. Mach and Earl have such momentous chemistry. It feels like watching a movie, because both of their visions are so perfectly executed here. The production is dark and soulful, fitting for an album named after the day that souls resurrect to dance among the living. This is peak Mach rapping too. His vocals are hypnotizing, with his monotonous flow and the fuzzy mixing of his recordings. Embarrassment of Riches might be my favorite Navy Blue beat ever, and Mach kills it, drawing you in with this repetitive hook before giving one of my favorite all-time verses, with the first half all rhyming with A, then the second half of the verse evolving into a lesson in rapping, shifting between the tightest of flows. Carpe Diem is only a minute and a half long, but that doesn't stop it from being one of the most mysterious sounding Mach tracks. Here he's at the point where every verse he spits is lined with abstract quotable after quotable. It's been argued that Mach-Hommy in 2017 is one of the greatest rappers ever, and this is as good evidence as you could find of that. Bringing us into the top 5, we have Wap Kun Joj. This EP holds a special place in my heart, because this was the first Mach project that I ever heard, and it started me off on a journey deeper into the underground than I had ever been before. Shiny Brush starts the album off with one of the best openers of his career, with this flawless Alchemist beat and Mach rapping like the legend that he is. His presence on the mic through the whole project is almost of another world. It's so powerful. And the songs here all blend into each other so effortlessly, helping this feel like a 15-minute experience without a dull moment. Mozambique Drill has Mach dropping knowledge over a perfect Nicholas Craven beat. This track has sections where Mach's verse is panned to the right speaker and his hook is panned to the left at the same time. Moments like this is what makes this album such a unique listening experience. There's just nothing like it. The title track has Mach showcasing his bilingual singing abilities. When he goes from English to Creole, his voice blends in with the instrumentation in a way that's so seamless. Since I can't understand his words, his voice becomes a part of the horn section to me. E.Boy has one of the earliest collaborations between all of New Religion, rapping over this haunting beat that sounds like it's out of the score of an old Scooby-Doo episode. This is one of the shortest Mach projects that I'm talking about here today, but it has possibly the clearest vision of what it set out to be, and this is truly one of the best EPs that I've ever heard from anyone. At number 4, we have Haitian Body Odor, also known as HBO. At this point, these final 4 albums are all near perfect, and each of them really could be number 1. This is an important entry to his discography because this was the first truly great album that he made, and here's where he mastered the formula of what makes a great Mach-Hommy album. This project sets the stage for everything that came after it. This album is an exploration of Mach's Haitian roots, and brings the burgeoning underground scene of the time up to his level, to bask in the creativity prevalent in these sessions. This album features some of the best rapping of his career, and is the perfect blend of Mach's unique artistry with that refined Griselda sound. He raps over some of the grimiest beats ever put to wax, with beats from August Fannin, Xavier Alexander, Rock Marciano, Knowledge, Derringer, and Camouflage Monk. At 18 tracks and just under an hour long, this features some of the best songs that Mach has ever released. This is the essential Mach-Hommy project. For anyone who wants to get into Mach, this album should be your first step. I would point out specific songs to highlight, but I really think this whole thing is incredible. At number 3, we have Pray for Haiti. This is sort of a spiritual successor to HBO, as another masterful dedication to his home country of Haiti. The thing that sets this apart from HBO is the rapping. He was incredible on HBO, but on Pray for Haiti, he sounds like he's on a mission to prove that he first and foremost is a lyricist. The 26th letter starts the album off with Mach spitting like an automatic rifle, with some of the clearest and most concise rapping of his career. This project marks Mach's return to Griselda's inner circle, featuring Westside Gunn's fingerprints over this whole thing, which only adds to the magnitude of this. The beats here are also top tier, with beats from Camouflage Monk, DJ Green Lantern, Nicholas Craven, Sadu Gold, Conductor Williams, and more. He starts off No Blood, No Sweat by saying, "They say I'm top 1, more or less the best," And that's exactly how this project feels. It feels like Mach declaring his place in the top of hip-hop, right at the point where his buzz was the loudest. The Stellar Ray Theory is another one where his pen game feels so sharp and refined, as he flips Jay-Z's Takeover in a dope way. This album is one of the most accessible in his discography, but it's still unapologetically Mach. It's just a masterclass in hip-hop, by one of the best to ever do it. At number 2, we have Dump God Hommy Edition. This is probably Mach's most well-rounded project. Mach always comes through with a stacked producer list, but this might be his best, with beats from Sadu Gold, Earl Sweatshirt, Navy Blue, The Alchemist, and Preservation, all giving some of the best soul flips of the last decade. The beats are simultaneously classic hip-hop, while sounding perfect for the modern moment of Mach-Hommy, and Mach is channeling some of the greatest MCs to ever live, the smoothness of Big Daddy Kane, the quotables of Jay-Z, and the dynamic flow of Biggie. If this album came out in 1995, it would easily be thought of as one of the best projects in hip-hop history. This is another one released right at the heart of 2017, which is by all accounts right smack dab in the middle of his prime. You can tell that he was in such a rhythm while making this project. It almost feels effortless in the way that he's able to make such classic sounding hip-hop. Mach often has a lot of other artists featured on his projects, but this is one where it feels like they all equally contribute to this project's greatness. The God Fahim even has a solo track on here, and it fits right at home. Most rappers would be lucky to have Dump God Hommy Edition as their best project, but Mach-Hommy somehow has something slightly better. At number 1, we have The Gospel According To, also known as the G.a.t. This is Mach's most expensive album, being released for over $3,000, and for a good reason. This album is not only the best of Mach-Hommy's career, but it's also one of the best jazz rap albums ever created. Entirely produced by August Fannin except for track 8, this album is such a unique showcase of musicianship. Track 1 is perfect, sounding straight out of a smoky jazz club, with Mach on the stage reciting spoken word poetry about love. This is one of his few projects with no features from any other rappers or singers, so it really is just Mach's unique vision all the way through. Track 2 is a contender for the best Mach song ever. His verse is flawlessly written and performed, with his lyrics riding on top of this incredible beat that leaves this feeling like nothing I've ever heard. The perfection only continues from here. This album is Exhibit A for Mach's incredible artistry. There is nobody else in the history of hip-hop who could have made an album that sounds like this. Every single track here is great in its own way too. No flow is repeated on this project, and lyrically Mach gives a performance that should be studied. This is one of those projects that makes you keep listening again and again, trying to understand every second of sound, because you just want to be a part of this mysterious world. Once Mach's career is said and done, this is the one that people will point to when explaining why Mach-Hommy is one of the greatest to ever do it. This project right here is a masterpiece. I really hope that Mach puts this on streaming soon, because this is an album that everyone deserves to hear. And that is it. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. That was a long one, so I really do appreciate everyone who sat through all that to hear what I have to say. Don't forget to hit me up on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure to check out all the producers who I use beats from in my videos. I always put all their information down in the description of each video. Let me know if there's any other artists that you would like to see me do a ranking for. As I said earlier, I got a lot planned for the channel for this summer. Thanks for watching.